So apologise if he does, but hopefully he's settled down now. My name's Anna May. I work for a company called Neither. I've worked with them for just under 3 years now, and we do a variety of different things. We're contract based, so we have lots of different programs that happen all the time, and we're constantly bidding for different contracts and different ways that we can support either schools or businesses across North Yorkshire, some other areas of Yorkshire and the East Riding as well. And our new project that we've got, which I am the network coordinator role for, is called Women in STEM. We call it Connect, Develop, Achieve as its title head. And it is a free programme for people to access, and it's about supporting women in industry. So although it is about STEM, it is quite flexible. It's more flexible than people think. So we're looking at targeting individuals that work for SMEs, so 249 employees or less. And it can be that they're in a STEM or digital role already, or that they're looking to move into a STEM or digital role, or they're looking to develop a STEM or digital skill. And we can sort of act as a middleman, is what we found people have really been asking for, is we can signpost to different things that are out there, different businesses, different training courses, anything that's out in local areas. And the project is across North Yorkshire and the East Riding. So it's available to anyone. We're really keen to get, which I wanted to meet with you guys, we're keen to get into local areas and find out what their needs are. We found I'm based over on the coast, but we travel, so we're happy to do face-to-face, we're happy to do online, whatever fits people's needs. On the coast, we found that digital skills have been something that people are really wanting support with, given how things have changed. I know Scarlett mentioned they're looking at a hybrid model. They're looking at digital skills and how to get back to work, but keep it digital at the same time, because the world of work isn't going to be the same. A lot of companies are looking for support in those aspects. So what we're doing is we're putting together different workshops and things that people can attend, and they can develop their skill sets, or we are signposting to further training. Some of that is subsidised funding. Some of them are free to access. It depends on what's available, to what the individual would like, really. So it's just really to get the message out that it's a free funded programme, so there's no cost attached to working with myself or my colleague Sam. It's available to any SME. They have to fit some eligibility criteria to do with either the STEM things that we mentioned, so either in a STEM role, looking to move into a STEM role, or a STEM skill. But please don't be put off if you hear any businesses and they're not sure. We're happy to talk through whether they fit, because it is a lot broader than people think. It's not just whether you're a scientist or an engineer. It can be that it's digital skills or digital skill sets, anything like that we can work with. And we just try support women in the workplace and make sure that the SMEs and the micros are getting the support they need to continue and sustain after everything that's gone on with the pandemic. And we're just looking to really support people and help them through. We just want them to know that we're here. And like I said, it's free. There's no time frame attached wise. It's whatever the individual would like. So if someone says, I just want a couple of weeks help with XYZ, I want to be done by May, then we put a time frame in and say, right, well, we'll set this up, we'll do this, and we'll have this to you by May. Some people want ongoing support, and there's a variety of ways we can help people. I always find that sort of the case study is the easiest way to explain it, because it's such a varied programme. So one of our first sign-ups was a young woman who worked as a veterinary assistant, and she wanted to progress to become a veterinary nurse, but she didn't have her maths GCSE. So she was struggling to get on the course. She didn't want to do her GCSE whilst she was studying for the course, because she thought the work might be a bit too much, as well as working because it was an apprenticeship. So what I've done is I then went away, did the research of what's in her local area, different companies, and I gave her a selection of companies that do functional skills qualifications that she can go to. Some were funded, some were cost, and I just gave her all the information, and it's her choice. So I'm an unbiased point of view, so I give her all the options of different things that are available. Another one is I've been working with a woman who runs her own business. They're an SME, and they've recently set up a retail shop. They set it up during the pandemic as part of their SME, and I'm helping them with digital skills, looking at things like MailChimp, getting marketing lists out there. And they basically wanted the condensed help of, we really want to do this, but we don't have time to sift through it all because we've got so much going on. And I basically did sort of the legwork for them and condense that, and then could go to them and say, right, well, this is what we need to do. This is how we set up an account. And I run through that sort of stuff with them. So myself and my colleague Sam are basically the go-between, the middleman, and we do a bit of the legwork for people to help them get on their way and make sure that they are having a sustainable business. But we work with the individual rather than the business as a whole. so the individual can get the support that they need to either stay in work or progress onto the roles that they would like to within those industries. And just really supporting people and lifting people up. I hope that sort of makes sense. It is a very varied program. It's very, very flexible, which is where we struggle to pinpoint getting it across to people, because it is so flexible, which is great for us, but it's hard to say this is exactly what we offer, because it is tailored completely to that individual. They have a learning plan that we go through with them, so everything is agreed. There's nothing I won't say to people, you have to do this or you have to do that. It's all options, and we put a plan together to essentially say, what would you like? This is what we can offer. What would you like from that? And then we agree a plan, agree timeframes, and then move forward with it. And just sort of help promote people and develop themselves and make sure that people are supported. We're also aware that there are other support programs going on. So if we feel that we're maybe not the right people to support, we are happy to signpost to other agencies. That's sort of our holistic approach, is that we might not always be the best fit for people, and that's okay. We completely accept that. If there is anyone that we think actually there's another program that's going on, we are in touch with the other providers in different areas. We'll say they might be better suited for you and for your needs. So we're just sort of trying to help people is what we're trying to get across, and make sure that everyone's supporting. Unfortunately, it's just women, so that's what our outputs are based on. However, if we do work with an individual and they're working for an SME where, yes, Alison, I'm happy to share my contact details with you. If we're working with an SME and say we're working with an individual female in that business, and there happens to be a male there that wants to learn the same skills that I'm going through with them, they are happy to join that conversation. We're more than welcoming in that. They're just not classed as one of our output targets. So that's the only thing. But, we never say, oh, you can't be in this conversation or know any of this information, because, companies want people to know the same sorts of things. And we are also looking at the moment, initially we were told we couldn't work with Kickstarters because they should be getting support from their Kickstarter organisations. But because we are ESF funded, and there's a lot that goes on, I'm sure most of you are aware of different funding streams and all the complications that go with them, we are now hopeful that we can work with Kickstarters. We're just awaiting confirmation and the green light to be able to help Kickstarters as well. So hopefully we'll be able to help SMEs and micros moving forward. And that's just sort of us, really. We just wanted to get our face out there and let people know that we're in the areas, and we're really flexible in terms of if people would like face-to-face. I've had some clients that have said, I want to learn some digital skills, and I'd offered virtual sessions before, because this was before I could go and meet them, and they'd said, I need someone to sit with me. It's easier for you to sit next to me and go through this, and that's how I learn. So we postponed the training that I was going to do with them until it's going to happen in a few weeks' time, when I'm able to go into their office, obviously COVID safe, and that I can deliver that then with them face to face, because that's what they want. And whereas others, they've been really happy to do the virtual stuff because they can then fit that around their schedule. So it's really tailored to whatever they would like. And there's no pressure from us. It's sort of, they lead the training because it's about developing them holistically as well, rather than us pushing a sort of agenda, if that makes sense. So we're just wanting to get to know people as well, businesses in the area, that we can say, actually, have you spoken to this person? Have you been in this network meeting? Been able to know the feet on the ground in the area and say, actually, you could go speak to David, and David can really help you out there. Or if, someone that's in retail, I can say that Alison's available and things like that. It's just really useful for us to know who's around and the different things that we can help out with.
Sorry about that. You mentioned Kickstart. Kickstart, yes, being the initiative that's on at the moment to...
Yes, sorry, just to clarify. The Kickstart is the government scheme where businesses can hire someone and they get funding for that. It goes through the providers, goes through the DWP who are funding it. Because of the funding streams that are attached to our contract and their contract, there's a slight crossover in funding. So companies essentially hire someone for a year and they get funding to help support the member of staff. It's young people that are looking to get back into work, maybe made redundant or need to develop their work skills. So under the Kickstart scheme, they're supposed to be offered support with their skills, and from their Kickstart, what they call a gateway, who's their managing company, but they are now looking at allowing us access as well, so that we can also provide support to people should they have Kickstarters that they'd like that extra skills support with. Because we're a free service, we're hoping that we can cross over. They're just dotting the I's and crossing the T's with the funding streams and making sure that we're not crossing any boundaries. So yeah, it might be that some companies have Kickstart employees. They will know if they have a Kickstart employee because they'll have gone through all the funding for it. So yeah, we hopefully can work with them as well.
Yeah, we've had mention of Kickstart at previous meetings with Abby and I think it was Tracy who got in touch from there. So if anyone wants any information on that, we've got a couple of contacts on that particular point. Has anyone got any questions for Anna-May? I've got one or two, but
I appreciate it was a lot. So any questions, please fire at me.
Anyone got anything?
If it did,
it was just more in terms of like what about
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that.
Who is it that's speaking there?
I'm not sure I was. Somebody else was as well, I think. Not sure who. It's the digital skills. If it's, I mean, this would be more for my music business, which I'm moving in a slightly different direction with, and I find that my digital skills are not amazing. I can do, obviously, because it's largely, I can deal with music software. That's fine, but it's things like saving stuff on sort of like cloud and Google Drive. Probably being able to do more with programs like Word and Excel, which I'm pretty hopeless at. I do the basic, but I mean, is that the sort of thing your company would cover as well?
Yeah, so we can cover anything. One of the main things we've got back is that when I've been talking to companies and individuals, it's that, I apologise, my partner's also on a call in the same room and might be able to hear a bit of feedback. It's the thing we found is that a lot of people have said when they've gone to courses, they go straight into the jargon and the really technical things and it overwhelms them. So one of the things we're looking at implementing is just sort of the basic skill set that the younger generations take for granted because they've come up with them. Just looking at going back to, this is how you use these documents. I mean, I find things like Excel sometimes can be overwhelming because there's so many things you can do with it. So we're happy to provide support, and even if you think it might seem, oh, well, it's something that's smaller, it's not quite maybe as technical as other things, we're still there to provide that support and help people, manage that. And there's so many platforms now that get so confusing. So that's definitely something we can support with. I'll drop my details in, and we've got like LinkedIn and things like that. So I'll be sure to follow up in all sorts of things. David's got my email, so I will, if that's all right, if you're happy to share my email contact. My email's all over everything on LinkedIn anyway. So my phone numbers, so everyone can get hold of me. But it's, those things like digital skills, Fiona, we're happy to support with. Whether you'd like that support one-to-one, if you'd like it virtual, we can meet in a cafe, anything like that. Once we're able to, we're happy to come through and do that work with you. And it's on your terms as well. So if you'd said, I could only spare 1 hour every 2 weeks, then we'll do an hour every 2 weeks. Or if you said, I want to do 2 hours or 3 hours a week, or, you set the time frame for us and we work with our availability and see that it's not you have to do 3 hours a week or you have to do this much. We have one woman that signed up and then she was like, actually, I am flat out in March. I don't want to see you. And she said, can you come back to me in April? And then I've got XYZ that I'd like to do and I'd like it on this date. So we said, yeah, that's fine. It's completely up to you how many hours you want to put in, depending on how quickly you pick things up. It might be that we say we'll revise the timings and things like that. It's all revisable and it's all tailored, whatever you would like to do.
Okay, you mentioned the learning plan, and from what you've just said, it's obviously flexible.
Yes.
And built around the individual. Is it put together and discussed alongside the employer, or don't you engage with the employer?
That would depend. If the individual would like us to go through that with the employer, then we can. However, we work with the individual. So although a referral may come through the employer, and the employers are aware of us, they can send that out to their employees. We work with the individual. The employer might say to us, I would really like my staff to look at this particular module, or I would really like them, I feel that they could develop in confidence. the employer might say, we're looking to promote them, but we think they might need a little bit of leadership skills. They can give us that information. However, our plan is with the individual. So that's where the GDPR comes in. It's with the individual. It's only shared should the individual wish it to be shared. If the employer requests it, it's down to the individual. I can't say, yes, here's all this person's personal data. So yeah, it's the SME can be involved, the micro can be involved by all means, but it's at the individual's discretion. For instance, I have one client at the moment she's mid-20s. The pandemic she is an early years teacher, and she decided, I don't want to work with nursery students anymore. I no longer have a passion for the job. I want to change careers. I want a whole new direction. So obviously her SME have no idea she's working with me because she wants to change career path, but she doesn't want to shoot herself in the foot and lose her current role before having cemented something in. So the SME isn't involved at all, but I know which SME she works for. She still has to give me those details to confirm she works for one, but they don't have any communication from me or anything like that. It's all on her terms.
I was thinking that confidentiality could be important.
Yes.
If you wanted to move away, get some skills to move away from your current employer.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why we work with the individual, because it might be that someone feels that they've reached their ceiling in the company that they're at, and they want to either go for a promotion elsewhere, or that they actually want a change of career path, or it can be anything. And that's why it's down to the individual, and it's their discretion of whether they share that information. If they want to talk to their employer about that, they're more than willing to. In terms of our side of things, I'm always happy for my details to be passed on, but anything that the employer would like to know, it has to come through the individual, because we are obviously regulated by GDPR and it's a signed document. So the individual learning plan, they sign it and I sign it as well, or my colleagues sign, depending on who they're working with. They sign the document and it has all that confidentiality on there to say that we won't share this information. It is shared with the DWP as part of our funding. That is so that they can track long term. So it's whether people have progressed, whether they've gone up in pay, whether they've developed their skill set, they've got a promotion, they've got a further job or anything like that. And the DWP track it in those terms of whether someone has progressed through their career, but not necessarily as David that's in Richmond has done this. It's sort of more of a one person in this area has progressed through. So that's all on the confidentiality clause though, and it's all there for people to read, and they signed that as well. So they've got all the information from us.
Well, from what you're saying there, and I was going to ask, you're there as a mentor, I guess, right? Yes. Until the end. There is an end date for the learning plan. Yeah, so we set an end date with the individual themselves. There are some individuals that want a really sort of short time frame. There's others that want a longer time frame. So it is dependent on what they would like. We are set to run till 2023 in September. So it could be that someone likes the program, but it's not quite right for them right now. So they can sign up in, a few months' time, in a year's time, that's fine. Or it could be that they want sort of longer term support or shorter term. I'm sorry, my dog's just started barking. He's a very vocal dog. But yes, it's all about them and how long they would like it for, or how short they would like it for as well. So it's completely tailored, completely flexible, and we do reviews throughout the program as well. Okay. Is that the postman arriving or something? Sorry, I'm just going to call him over to me. Yeah, it's people walking past the house. They get very no worries. Yeah, people are intruding. We've had
Same.
We've been upstaged by a dog.
It's an amazing program, isn't it? I found it really, really great. I think it's an amazing initiative. Just to clarify, maybe, because I'm not sure I understood that right, in terms of funding, how does it work? And yeah, can you clarify that, please?
Yes, so we are funded through Calderdale College. So we're funded through them, but we're based across North Yorkshire and East Riding. So they fund us, as well as it comes through ESF funding, which is our main pot of funding. And then NIBEC Fund, who I actually work for, they fund the contract as well. So it's a 50-50 of what they put in. I'm so sorry because my dog just keeps going and he's upstaging me. Yeah, so it is funded through that. In terms of our clients, they don't have to worry too much about the funding streams. That's just sort of our we like companies to know that that is how we're funded, and that's why it's a free program, because they put the money into it. There are other streams that Calderdale College are funding at the moment as well, and a lot of them are subsidised. So if we were to signpost someone to training and they were to want to take that training, it can be that they can get it subsidised because there's other programs going on. In terms of the work with myself or my colleague Sam, that's completely free, and that's just what I want to make clear to people. There's no hidden agenda, there's no, oh, well, after so long you've got to pay for this. It is completely free. Our wages are covered in the funding. It's just that support that's there, and the funding is available for people to access and work with us. And we're constantly looking at different networks that we can tap into to signpost people to, that are also either free or accessible, or ways they can find funding for as well.
Oh, amazing. I think it's really great, and it's going to really help people with rebouncing as well with the pandemic, and especially women, because they've been a population that's been even more vulnerable.
And we found as well a lot of stereotypically it has been that women have been the ones that have been working from home more, looking after children where they can. It tends, that's sort of how the dynamics laid out. A lot of I work for a female dominant company as well. We only have one male member of staff who is called Sam, who's also on this project. We found that actually most of the women they're at home with kids, and we're having to be really flexible in working. It's getting back into that working life now. So we're looking at supporting women, especially in the STEM and digital industries. It's already male dominant. We're just trying to make sure that women have the skill sets they need, or if they now think, actually, do you know what, I want to go for that promotion, how do they get there? And we can provide that skill set. Like I said, there is the eligibility criteria if it has to link somehow with the STEM or digital industries. But if anyone's unsure, we can go through them, the sort of loopholes that we go through. And because we know the contract really well, as long as there are some aspect of it, we can then link it. And some people are looking at developing digital skills, and that's how they link with the program, that's how they fit the eligibility. But they're also looking at interview skills, so we're doing that with them as well. It just has to be one part of it links to it, and then the rest can follow through with it, if that makes sense. But completely free, so chuck all my details around everywhere. People can contact me, and I'm always happy to take phone calls on meetings, anything you guys think of that you think actually that'd be really useful for them to know. I'm happy for my details to just be chucked around everywhere.
Okay, Alison, I think you were going to say something.
I was, yes. I've got a question in relation to whether, if you've received funding for training from one of the providers previously, will that impact on the eligibility?
No, it shouldn't do. It's if are you currently undergoing training with them?
I think it's still ongoing at the moment. So I've been doing Digital Advantage course with Calderdale.
Right, okay, yes. I would have to double check with Calderdale on that. So I'd double check that. But as far as I'm aware, I think that you should still be able to access the skills support, because it's classed as a skills program. We're not classed as a training program. It's under specialist skills support. So because of how it's categorized, when not provide like a certificate, you don't get a certificate from me or anything like that, just a support program, so you should still be able to access it. But if there's ever any uncertainties, I can go back and double check that. I'm always happy to chase things up and just make sure that we are clear on where we stand for those.
Thank you.
My experience on that is normally there is some way of bringing in that extra provision, because you're going on to a different stage of development or skill set.
And it depends as well, because we can signpost the different training outputs and things like that. We signpost onto Calderdale College as well. We signpost internally, all those sorts of things. There's always a way around it. There's always, something we can find to say, actually, we can make this possible. If not, for whatever reason, you aren't able to sign on to our programs, like we said, we're happy to signpost to other providers that might be able to suit you better, or you might be able to get on with their funding. We're happy to sort of pass that information on. We're not about keeping things in-house, because we think as long as you're being supported and you're being helped, that's what our overall goal is, that's what our overall aim is. So we're happy to pass on other company details that we're aware of that might be able to support as well.
Okay, well, one last thing from me. You mentioned about the veterinary nurse, and she's looking to do her maths. Once she achieves those goals that you've agreed with her in the time set. Is she then able to apply again for further help and support
Yes.
to go further?
It would depend on, so when we do the plan, that's one of the things we talk about. So for her, she doesn't want any further support from me, because we'd said, I knew that she needed to get a master's, she could go on to the veterinary nursing course without having to do it alongside it. And we'd had that discussion. I'd said, do you know who you do your veterinary nursing course through? Do you know which college you go to? You do it through an apprenticeship, sort of how we're going about that. And she's already doing it through her employer. She's got the apprenticeship sorted. They have their provider, her employer offer those anyway. So she doesn't need that support. But had she said yes, I wouldn't close her off. I would then keep her open as a client. And then when she's ready to move on to the next steps, I would then be able to say, right, okay, you've got your functional skills, however long that's taken. I've just referred her on, and it's looking at, it'll be 2 months that she'll have a functional skills level 2, which I'm really excited for. And I'm also here as well in the background, even if like our clients have signed off, you know, I always say to them, I'm happy for you to drop me an email. If there's anything you just want a quick question about, or you want to have a chat, that's what we're here for as well. So it might be that, yes, you have signed off from our program, but should you need that, you know, little snippet of information, or you want some other help, get in contact and we can find a way to support you and help you out. So yeah, in her circumstance, she's not wanting any more support from me because we've already had those conversations. But if she said she did want that support, we could put that in place for her.
Okay. Anyone got any further comments or questions?
Yes,
No?
maybe one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any like flyers or little visuals that we could share, maybe because I think some of my clients could be interested in this program. So I'd love to be able to share on my social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, that if you have anything.
That would be great. We do have some flyers and things like that. If David, am I all right to send you sort of an email with a brief?
Yeah.
And then I'll attach the leaflet and everything. I'll put all my details on there, like our LinkedIn, our website, all the things that are on there. And then, yeah, everyone can drop me an email or give us a follow on LinkedIn, or you know, even add personal connections and things like that. So yeah.
If you send that through, I'd happily send it around everyone that's here. And if we can, if it's all right with you, Anna-May, we'll leave a section on our newsletter, and we'll get you on the website as well.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And I know you mentioned at the start of the meetings that you hold. If you're happy for me to join those meetings as part of the network, I would really love to be able to join those and, you know, catch up with people and see how they're doing. Yeah, I think it'd be really great to sort of have that connection. And it might be that I might not be able to do every month, but, you know, if I can pop in every other month just to catch up and see how everyone is. It's really nice to see faces, especially in this climate where I'm at home all the time. It's nice to see people.
Well, on that, generally we have some people who come along to every meeting. We have some who come along every now and again, or every other meeting, and some people will see sort of every 6 months, and it's great to sort of have that catch up as well. A different sort of.
And I think that's what we're about as well, is that, you know, we just want to be sort of seeing people once and then popping out. We want people to like know our faces and get to know us, because, you know, we think it's really important to build those relationships. And we've always said that word of mouth, you know, I'm a small town girl, I'm from Scarborough, I've, you know, grew up here. Word of mouth is so important, and getting to know people and knowing those business relationships is sort of really key to developing. So yeah, it'd be great if you wouldn't mind me coming back. That'd be lovely.
It's amazing how actually a network like ours does work. And
you guys know the local area, you know the different companies, and I think that's something that's really key for us. We don't just want sort of the big areas that are easy to access. We want, you know, to be in the local communities and, you know, finding those people to work with. That's sort of where we're really based at.
I found over the years, it's not actually the people who were at a particular meeting, or that, you know, where we've had a specific speaker. It's the people that they have spoken to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and there's all sorts of marketing models and that around that, which Phil will tell you about on one day when we let him loose. But yeah, it's amazing. I've had people come talk to me, friends, and they said, "Oh, I hear you had such and such at a business meeting the other day," and I'm thinking, well, how have they even found out about that? But anyway, enough of that. Okay, good. Scarlett, have you thought of anything more you want to mention about this new post that you're looking to fill?
Nothing that necessarily springs to mind at the moment. I'm a bit gutted that I missed the start of what Anime was talking about because it sounds really interesting. So I'll definitely catch up on the recording as well, because I think everyone sort of knows, like, the minute that you stop developing your team and sort of looking to make sure that people feel sort of challenged and fulfilled in their role, that's when they start looking at leaving. So it's certainly something that I'm very mindful of within our team as well. So I'd love to know a little bit more. In terms of the role and things, we've had some cracking applicants through. I'm still sort of keeping a very open mind about it. It's really important because David, you'll attest to it as well, where, we work in a big open office environment. It's noisy, it's creative, there's a lot going on. We need somebody who's going to be able to sort of cope with the organized chaos of that environment and actually enjoy it as well. We've had other people in the past who it's felt maybe a bit overwhelming and things at times, and I certainly don't want to kind of suggest to somebody that they're going to come in and it's going to be this sort of, sit in the corner peaceful thing. We want people to be involved in the conversations that are going on in the office and the sort of the energy that generates. The other side of it as well is funny, Anime, with your dog barking in the background as well. I have a very vocal dog, but she'll be joining us in the office too. So I guess another concern is, do you like dogs? Is another thing that I'll be asking people, because
it's a very important question. People like dogs.
Yes.
It's always the first one.
I mean, she's super cute, but it's just some people are kind of turned off by that. So we just want to make sure that we're finding somebody who's going to be kind of part of our team in the long term. We have a very low staff turnover. Most people who join the company stay for a really long time, and I think that's quite a testament to the way that it's been built and things. And, we're joking about Phil and things, and he is a crazy man, I'm sure, for those of you that know him, but he genuinely cares about his team as well. So we're just looking for somebody who is going to fit in more than anything and sort of wants to be part of building something. So yeah.
I can say hand on heart that the surrounding environment is very pleasant. I used to share offices with Scarlett and the team. Scarlett, can you pass on a message to Phil that I'm going to send him a contact Alison's email. Alison's a consultant for retail. Is that right, Alison? For SMEs primarily.
So I was going to say, I think Alison's spoken. It was Maisie that Alison was primarily sort of speaking with, but I think you've met Phil as well, haven't you?
Ah, right. Okay.
You'd remember.
Yeah. It was my balls before because I'm one of the Dales Divas.
I've been to one of them as well. I had a fab time at the casino one. Yeah. I think that was the last one I don't know if there's been any since, because I can't even remember when that was.
No, we were supposed to have one Halloween last year, which was cancelled, and then we rescheduled it to July the 4th this year, but we've cancelled it and it's now June the 22nd next year.
Okay. Oh, perfect. I had a cracking time at the last one.
Yeah, they were good.
You'd have thought it was real money. I was so excited when I was winning. But yeah, no, perfect.
Okay. If Alison, if you want to get in touch with Phil, if you've got his contact information already, and just mention this meeting, and well, the reason is Phil's heavily involved with the Business Association in Richmond, and as I said earlier, they've got quite a few retailers on their membership list. Okay. Thank you. Right. Couple of things we mentioned earlier. If Scarlett, you may not have been there, but Phil picked up on something from was it the Guardian or if you've been working at home, you can apply for £6 a week tax return, which sort of equates to £300-ish. If
one of the members of the team who does bookkeeping, she sort of circulated that within the team, so we were all kind of woohoo.
Yeah, that's good news, isn't it?
You've obviously, the money's gone already, hasn't it? You've already used the energy or whatever it's supposed to cover, so it's nice you can recoup that. Yeah.
Okay, so please pass that on to anyone that you think might be interested. I said Karen Booth from the LEP was going to join us today. One of the things she was going to mention is, you know the TV program Dragon's Den? Mm-hmm. But they're actually looking for new people to participate in the next series that they're going to start filming. So if anyone knows of some businesses who are ready to take the next step, or in fact some new startups who have got some brilliant idea, please get in touch with myself, and I'll pass you the details on to Karen. So you never know, you might help someone take that step to be a zillionaire like Phil. We mentioned Kickstart and that, didn't we, in our talk earlier, so I won't repeat on that. But a thank you to Anime for joining us this morning. It sounds a really dynamic project that you've got there, and it must be really rewarding, I think, to be helping people along the way there. It sounds really good. So, as I said, if you are agreeable, we'll keep your details on the newsletter for a little while.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll send you an email update of just everything. We've got sort of the little snippets of information that we send out to companies anyway, and then flyers and things like that, so people can have a look over. It has the eligibility criteria on there. It does say, you know, if anyone's worried that they don't fit the criteria or would like some support, just get in contact, and all my details are on there as well. And I'll link with our LinkedIn pages and things like that, so people can contact us through different platforms.
I'll add you to our mailing list, so you know when we've got things coming up in the future. Clem and Alison, I'll do likewise, unless you, yeah, is that okay? And you'll see that we've got a variety of things coming up. Case in point, 14th of July, Wednesday, 14th of July, we're going to the Holly Hill Inn, which is on the other side of town from where I am now, but towards Catterick. We've chosen that because they've got a lovely big restaurant dining area, which has glass doors which opens up onto the lawn. So if anyone's still a little bit iffy about sort of getting together in a largish group, we're going to have plenty of space to move around and circulate in the fresh air. Hopefully it's a lovely morning like this morning, but not as cold. So 14th of July for that. And then you'll see some details for our expo in September, which is at the racecourse at Catterick. We normally have a good outing there. They've got a new stand set up as well now, so I'm really quite looking forward to having a look around all the remodeling and that they've done over there. So please look out for details of those events. So has anyone got any final points that they want to put over this morning? Okay, well, really sorry.
What time? July meeting.
Pardon?
What time is the
July meeting is 10 o'clock. Sorry, 7:30.
Back to normal, yeah.
Back to normal. Well, hopefully we're back to normal, yeah. And as I say, we've chosen the Holly because well, they do a good breakfast, but also the room lends itself to opening up to the lawn outside. So hopefully we'll see all the old faces and some new ones as well. So thank you very much for this morning. I'll put your names down on the mailing list, and hopefully we'll see you again shortly. Okay, now, thanks again. Thanks, Anna May.
Thank you.
Bye.